What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is QuikSnoopy, and today I am making a highly requested video. You guys commented on my Dota 2 guide and said that you wanted some guides and insights about the roles and positions in Dota. So today I briefly want to speak about the carry, support, roamer, offlane, jungle, and middle positions in Dota and how you can play them effectively. First, though, I do want to apologize. It has been a while since I have made a video. And as some of you may know if you follow me on social media, I was in Seattle for a few weeks because we had our Dota 2 tournament, the International. And it's our $24 million prize pool tournament that happens every year. Let's roll the footage. So of course that was a really great experience to be there. I did a ton of different things. I'll make a separate video talking about that. But right now, let's focus on the different roles and positions in Dota 2. So the first role or position that I want to talk about is the carry position. Here we're going to be taking a look at the Svin, who is RTZ, a professional player who plays for Evil Geniuses. We also have an Ancient Apparition who is supporting the Svin. So this is a perfect example. RTZ is currently playing offlane with Svin, but if you look at the Ancient Apparition, he's trying to harass and let Svin get farm. Typically a carry is very item dependent. So the Svin knows that he needs to get last hits and kills early on, so he can afford expensive items that will help him be more efficient later in the game. So Mask of Madness is typically a really good item for Svin, and in order to get that, you're going to need to be able to get enough gold. And as of right now, RTZ is doing a great job of achieving that. The longer the game goes on, the more of an impact the carry players will have. RTZ is going to be able to farm and get kills. The more items he gets, typically the more impact on the game he will have. It's not always 100% true, of course. It depends on the player, the items, the heroes, etc. But you want to look at heroes like Svin, who are really good pushing and farming carries. This is from RTZ's perspective, so you're going to be able to see him look at the support, and he wants to know what is going on around him. Typically you want to have somebody babysitting the carry, and in this case it's Ancient Apparition. As of right now, Svin does not need Ancient Apparition to help him in lane, but if you look, you also see a gank coming from Shadow Shaman. Now Ancient Apparition kind of comes up to help. So it's really a teamwork perspective, but the carry needs to be able to farm safely, and Ancient Apparition really helps him with that. There's another thing I want to point out here, and that is the gank that is coming from Spirit Breaker. If you look, you see the Shadow Shaman, the Life Stealer, and they end up getting the kill on the Shadow Shaman. Now it's time for RTZ to get back. The Spirit Breaker comes in, and there's just a lot going on right now. Typically for a carry, they need space to farm. That means taking towers, that means ganking, and trying to eliminate the other carry. Earlier, you remember that Lifestealer was gone for a while because Ancient Apparition right-clicked him and forced him to go back and farm somewhere else. That is simply creating space for Svin. No one was really contesting that, and he was able to get free farm. I want to show one more video before we move on. So we have Svin, who was pushing bottom. The team TP's in to kill him. Svin at this point, it's close to 20 minutes. He has a decent amount of farm. And with the help of Ancient Apparition's ult, he's able to help set up and get a kill with Spirit Breaker charging in. And that's an example of getting good farm and making the best use out of it. Now the Sven's going to push bottom, and they're going to take a tower. Good teamwork. I feel that sometimes the support role can get overlooked, so I want to look at that next. Here we have Jakiro, who is being a very good support and stacking camps for his carry. This helps prove the overall effectiveness of both him and his carry, because the carry will be able to get more farm out of the camp. Notice how Jakiro does this while on his way back to the fountain. We have another video here of Jakiro early on in the game, only a few minutes, and you can see that he is pretty much babysitting the Nature's Prophet. And that's because the Terrorblade is pushing the lane, they have Dazzle who is healing and also pushing the lane, and Jakiro's going to do his best to try and harass and help Nature's Prophet get the most farm that he can. In doing so, you also have Jakiro, and you look and he has Fire Breath at level 1. He's taking a lot of health from Dazzle, which is really good because he wants to force Dazzle out of lane. Or Terrorblade would be even better. As a support, your whole role and job is to purchase and upgrade couriers, buy both Observer and Sentry awards. Sometimes I feel that people only buy Observer awards and they never focus on dewarding until it's too late. Stacking camps is always a good thing for supports. Arcane boots, upgrading the Guardian Greaves, just overall helping improve your carries, since typically you will be laning with them. As a support, you typically don't want to take last hits from your carry unless if he leaves the lane, which is what Nature's Prophet is going to do right here. As a support, you can also take the bounty runes, and that will help increase your farm. Now let's get into some of the fun stuff. Let's talk about roaming. Here's a video of my friend who was roaming, and he stole the bounty room from Phantom Assassin at the beginning of the game. As a roamer, you really want to focus on rune control, stuns and slows. Preferably if you have a stun or slow, it is typically easier to help get kills. Urn of Shadows if you're going to be ganking and roaming a lot. Bounty Hunter, Tusk, Pudge are awesome, really good roamers. Here we have an example of my friend who went to the mid lane, and all he did was really just make Phantom Assassin's life difficult. That's it. And typically as a roamer, that's all you're supposed to do. You want to be roaming from lane to lane, helping get kills, ganks. Right here we have Spirit Breaker and Tusk. Both. They came and killed Meepo, which was a core part for their team. Meepo needs farm, and he can't get it when he's dead. And now that was under the enemy tower too. So that makes things even more crazy and suspicious. Now it's time for the roamer to get out. If you look at the time, he knows it's almost 2 o'clock, or the timer is at 2, which means that the bounty rune will spawn. Knowing that the bounty rune spawned, he saw that Doom took it. Here he's going to try and make Doom's life difficult by just hitting him. On the bottom you can see that they're going to have rotations coming to help kill Tusk. He kills the creep camp, he took the rune, but Tusk is still alive, and the fact that they have to bring Phantom Assassin bottom to help kill him, and then I think you're going to see Lich come up and also try and help get the kill. There's literally 3 of them bottom right now, and it shouldn't take 3 people to kill a roaming Tusk. In the process of this, I want you to think about the mid lane, where he was getting free farm in mid lane. The bottom lane, where he was getting free farm because there was only a Meepo. You're taking more resources from the enemy team, and that's all your job is as a roamer. And sometimes it can just be so much fun to roam. Even here when they kill the Broodmother. And in this next video you have Tusk who is hanging out mid, and you see that Phantom Assassin is there. It's really just an easy kill because you can snowball in. And if you look, they force a Doom to teleport. So now Doom's teleport is on cooldown. It allows other lanes to push. Shadow Fiend gets out safely. and unfortunately Tusk dies. It was really a really good trade at that point. And before moving on, I do want to show this one last video, how easy it is for a roamer to dominate early in the game. Here he finds a Lich who is out of position, trying to grab the bounty rune. Easy kill, easy gold. The roamer is doing his job, he's taking people out of the game. And in the early game is when you see these roamers thrive, just destroying the other team's farm, not letting them get their items, and sending them back to their base. Isn't this just so much fun? My favorite position is actually mid, so I could talk about this for hours, but I'm going to try and keep it short and very detailed. When you're in the mid lane, you're all alone. It's similar to playing an offlane, and in doing that, you just have solo XP. No one's really there to help steal your experience, but you do have to watch out for ganks. Early on in the game, 7 minutes, the other team decides they gank mid, and you see rotations coming from RTZ playing Svin. This is the same game that I was telling about earlier, but there's so many basic fundamentals in it when it comes to pushing, team fights, and just winning your lane, farm. It's a brilliant game, and watching this, I'd learned so many things for myself, just laning in mid, and I play mid a lot, so being able to take knowledge from this and apply it is really good, and hopefully that's what you can do from this video. As I was saying, when you were playing in the mid lane, the solo XP is really nice. It allows you to get gold, and typically it's just 1 versus 1. You and the enemy mid. You need to watch out for ganks because everyone's goal is to destroy the mid lane. Because it's so easy, you don't really have anyone else there babysitting you like you do when you play carry. And I think this video is another good example. It's so easy early on, even less than 30 seconds, you see the enemy Night Stalker, Shadow Shaman, and Ember Spirit mid trying to kill the Death Prophet. Fortunately, you see that there was a Spirit Breaker who teleported mid and eventually kind of scared him away. They didn't have too many abilities that they could have killed Death Prophet with. It was more of like an intimidation, and Death Prophet reacted perfectly to it. Of course, when you play mid, you need to be able to control the creep equilibrium. That means knowing when to push, denying your own creeps. I made a separate video talking about the mid lane just because I love it so much. Here you're going to see Death Prophet who's just pushing the tower. There's nothing they can really do to stop that. You have a Magnus there, but he can't fight into the Death Prophet's ult. So taking this tower in the mid lane, you want to push the lane, take the tower, and then help other towers as quickly as you can. You typically don't want to leave the mid lane in this meta. That's more of like an advanced game performance knowledge. Basically, with the addition to the extra range creep, it's more beneficial to stay in lane, get the XP, and get the gold than it is to leave your lane and gank your enemy team. I'm also going to show the same video that I showed earlier from when the Svin killed the Ember Spirit Night Stalker, but I want to show it from the Death Prophet's point of view. He comes late to the fight, he silences the Shadow Shaman, then you can see him go after the Magnus, and I think it's what he does after this fight. Remember, this fight happened after Death Prophet already took the middle tower. Now he's helping his team push other lanes, helping his carry. RTZ is getting more farmed, and he doesn't have enough mana for his ultimate here, but he will on the second tower. So they don't stop at the tier 1. They have 3 people here. The enemy team, there's 3 heroes dead. Death Prophet uses his ultimate, and now they're pushing more lanes. Basically, the mid lane snowballed, the safe lane snowballed. Everyone just got the farm they needed, and it might sound like really repetition, but the support helps the carry get the farm. In the mid lane, you rely on your team to help gank mid so that you can safely get farm mid. If you can't get the farm mid, then you're going to have to get it some other way, and you can't just give up the middle tower because then the other team's going to push. So I tried to find some footage to show you what it's like to play offlane, but really all I found was just tons of ganks happening for the offlane in their favor. But basically, offlane, you have solo XP. Your goal basically is not to die. You want to be able to defend that tower, but force there to be a carry and a support there. Like, you want to try and force the enemy team to keep their support in the lane, and by doing so, they're using more of the team's resources, because the support can't go and get the bounty rune or stack camps if the enemy's support is busy trying to harass you and deal damage to you. And typically when you play offlane, you don't need a lot of farm. Sometimes I see like Nyx Assassin players who will need a substantial amount of farm to buy Dagon and whatnot. But typically, just once that tower is destroyed, the offlaner goes and starts team fighting. So if you're ever playing offlane, just stay alive. Last but not least, I do want to talk about the jungle. It's not my favorite position in Dota simply because with the way the meta and the patch and the updates are going, you simply don't benefit your team enough to justify staying in jungle. So I'll kind of give an example and talk about it. You're getting solo XP, but you're really easy to be ganked because you're in the jungle and there's no one really babysitting you. If there's an invis here, you might have to worry about the jungle because they could steal your experience. But you may occasionally gank lanes. If you're playing jungle, like in this game Enigma, you might be able to go and gank mid, which is kind of helpful. But for like the first few minutes of the game, you're just sitting in jungle and you're not really helping your team out too much. You're not helping kill the other team or help push lanes. You're really just kind of isolated, and that's one of the downsides of playing in a jungle. Jungling isn't a bad idea, and you can still help your team push, but usually it's too late at that point. If you can jungle efficiently, then it might be worth it. Here you're going to see Enigma pushing the middle lane, and there's not really anything that Morphling can do since the tower was almost gone anyways. People who jungle have a few times to shine. When you play Enigma, he already has Blink Dagger within 11 minutes, has Black Hole, and is able to catch 2 of the enemy team and get the kill on both of them. And that's really beneficial to the other team, because now they have 2 people dead and they're destroying the other team's farm by eliminating them from the game. I'm almost done, guys, don't worry. When you kill the enemy team, they are losing gold. They're unable to get experience. They're unable to push lanes. They aren't able to team fight. They can't Roshan. Just killing the other team is really opens up so many opportunities for you to be able to work with your team and make plays happen. And that's what this Enigma did. He took advantage of that. And it wasn't a bad game to jungle, but at the same time, there's always those situational moments where it's better to jungle than maybe to have 2 people offlane. But anyways, I hope this video helped you. If it did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Tell your friends. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.